Welcome back to MINExpo International 2024. I'm Ashley Burke with the National Mining Association, and you're watching NMA TV. Thank you so much for joining us. This afternoon, I am delighted to be joined by Adam Anderson of Western Fuels. Adam, how are you?
I am fantastic. Thank you for having me.
Of course, we're so glad to have you here. Now, I want you to start out by telling me a little bit about Western Fuels.
So Western Fuels is rebuilding its brand right now, but we are a mining and logistics organization. Okay. We operate as a cooperative. We have a mine in Gillette, Wyoming, and that's where about 90% of our team is. And that feeds a number of power plants. One is a mine mouth operation. But in addition to mining, we also own about 3,100 rail cars. And we buy about 12 million tons of coal a year. And we buy that for the members that we serve. And that coal is then sent via the rail sets that we have to the mine, to the utilities, and then we make sure the maintenance is all done on the rail cars accordingly. So we negotiate coal contracts, we negotiate the rail contracts, we take care of the rail sets, and we take care of our members.
Great. So you're right in the heart of a discussion that I've really seen grow into a discussion of national importance in the last couple of years, and that's of the reliability and the affordability of electricity in this country, and even globally. We saw this after the crisis in Europe, when coal supplies were really constrained and natural gas supplies were constrained. People turned to the U.S. and were looking for coal supplies. Here in the U.S., I think coal is very much undervalued. So what's your take on this reliability conversation that's going on in the U.S. right now?
I truly believe that we've painted ourselves into a corner at this juncture. The narrative being that it has to be one or the other, and it doesn't have to be that. We've politicized the use of coal versus other sources, and it doesn't have to be that way. I understand that the use of coal requires a certain responsibility, and I certainly advocate for that. But I'll use one of our members as a fine example. If you look at Basin Electric, who's one of the biggest producers in the country, they have a plant by the name of Dry Fork Station. Dry Fork Station has every conceivable pollution control that you can put onto a plant, and every bit of it works, and they can still produce power there for cents per kilowatt hour. It is proof that coal can be used responsibly and reliably, and they do it every single day. This is one of the youngest coal plants in the country, and because it works and because the narrative is what it is, I think that plant is largely ignored, and it is a testament to the success of using this particular type of energy. From a reliability standpoint, we don't have a 24/7 replacement, and electricity cannot be stored on a live basis. That has not occurred yet. I don't think that will occur in our lifetimes. So we can't just depend on a tertiary supply of electricity that may or may not work sometimes, and then hope that everything goes right.
Do you think that we've really been lulled into a bit of a false sense of security here in the U.S. because we've always had inexpensive electricity, we've always been able to flip a switch and the lights come on? Do you think that really impacts the way Americans think about electricity and fuel sources here?
That is part of the standard of living in this great country, is that we don't have to worry about the lights coming on or the plumbing working. We expect it to work, and it's almost an irritation if it does not. But that has to come from somewhere, and we're putting that to the test. The new rules that we're trying to put in place when we don't have a replacement for what we've got is going to put us in a hard way sooner rather than later. And I don't think that a lot of people believe that will occur. And unfortunately, it is occurring. If you look at California, we've taught people to be okay with rolling brownouts. Where I live, we get messages of, please don't use this much power, between these hours in the morning, or there are requests to let us control your thermostat for you. We don't have to do that.
There was a Wall Street Journal article recently that talked about the fact that people on fixed incomes are sending 60% of the income that they're getting, their Social Security checks, to the electric company. that's not a sustainable way to be as Americans. And I think, if you look at the EPA's power plant rules that are out there, what would you say to someone from the EPA who is watching right now, perhaps, about how we should be approaching energy policy and electricity policy?
I would have two comments. My first one is what they're proposing currently is not feasible. I'm not saying that it can't be done, and I'm not saying that everybody doesn't need to do their part to act responsibly, but what's being pushed into the present right now is not feasible. If you look at the Clean Power Plan 2.0 as it stands right now, and I go back to the plant that I was talking about just a few moments ago, that plant burns extremely clean, and yet to apply all of the Clean Power Plan 2.0 to that plant would be $1.5 billion. Certainly a guesstimate, but I'm probably undercutting
Sure.
versus overestimating.
Sure.
And you just, that can't work right now.
Sure.
I mean, it needs to be remanded, it needs to be restudied, and it needs to be realistic. And it just becomes the point where it's not feasible, it's not realistic.
Right. So the theme of our show here at MINExpo International is around innovation. Do you see the future of coal as being similar to some of the innovation that you're seeing at Dry Fork Mine, some of the carbon safe initiatives that are going on at mines like that?
Well, much of it's already been done. If you think about it, when we go out in the public, and you mention coal to any random individual, the first thought that usually goes through their mind is somebody in the 1800s on a train.
Sure.
That's just the image they've got because that education is not out there. The coal industry has done a very good job doing its job and keeping its head down for many years, and now we're at a point where I think we have to actually educate the public. I mean, it's not the dirty, put it in the train, stoker coal that people think of when you bring up the subject. And we need to change that and let people know that this is a viable and clean source of electricity.
Sure. Well, thank you so much for being here today and being a part of that solution and talking about these issues, because that's what we need to be doing more of, I truly believe. So this has been incredibly helpful for
I am
us.
so happy to be able to, the forum to be here and to speak about that, and thank you very much for having me.
Great, thank you. All right, well, stay tuned, please, because next we have Bob Stanger of Cincinnati Mine Machinery. They have their 100th anniversary this year, so we're going to talk to them about that. Thank you so much.